Hi everyone, I'm teaching a new live class this May called The Joyful Writer. I'm doing a video series to just cover some of the questions I've been getting about the class and give you a little taste of what the class is going to be like. But I want to first say before we get into this video, thank you guys so much for the big response and all the emails I got back after putting out the last video. People are really excited. And from the questions you guys are sending, I can see that you've been thinking really deeply about this kind of stuff for quite some time. Seems like it's coming at the perfect time for a lot of people. I'm a big believer in synchronicity, so I know that's no accident. And I know that whoever shows up in this class, we're all supposed to be here right at this time. It's like perfect timing, right timing for us to come together and get this creative work done. So thank you so much for reaching out and letting me know your issues, your questions, your concerns, how it's hitting you. It's also very helpful to me. So in this class, we are going to experience a rebirth of sorts. We are going to be reconnecting to our creative source, and we're going to be bringing back the joy into our writing life. And we're going to be doing it in a group. There's going to be a whole group of us to support each other. And this is because so many writers tend to be isolated and alone, and it can kind of feel like you're trekking up a mountain all by yourself with not even one friend in sight. So we're going to have a whole group of us. And in my classes, I have noticed people do tend to make real friends that turn out to be long-term friends. And so that aspect is going to be built into this group. That's a very big, important part of it, is that we're all doing this together. So I've worked with hundreds of writers over 8 years now, clients, students, people I talk to online. I get emails from writers all around the world because of my book, The INFJ Writer. And I hear from so many writers that they feel unhappy in their writing lives and they really don't know how to get out of it. Like once they're in that unhappiness rut, it can be really difficult to shift just because that's all you know. So what are we going to learn in this class? How are we going to turn it around? So that's another big question I get, like what's going to work for me? Is something ever even going to work for me, or am I just doomed? So I just want to cover one of the quick issues in this video that will show you what the rest of the class is going to be like. And I'm going to do that by tackling one of the big problems that really plagues most unhappy writers, and that's overthinking. I see this so much of the time from writers. Writers who are unhappy overthink, right? They get up into their head and they can't get out of their head. So what this might look like, how this shows up, even before you start a new book or before you start a new story, when you're still in the idea stage, you start overthinking that idea to death. You start saying, are the characters good enough? Is the idea compelling enough? Has it been done before? Who's even going to read this? What's the reaction going to be? Why am I doing this? Haven't 1,000 other people done this, right? And this might manifest in a lot of planning action, like outlining things to death, doing character sketches and character sheets and beat sheets and world building and researching. So there's a tremendous amount of energy that's going into this planning stage to get the work off the ground, but then the work never does get off the ground. The writer stays stuck in that planning stage because by that time they're kind of going around and around in this thinking loop, and they can't jump from thinking to actually creating. It's a really common problem for writers, and it's a really painful one too, because most writers know they're stuck in the overthinking loop. They just don't know how to get out of it. So, why does this happen? Why can't we make the jump from all of this planning? It sounds like such a good idea to actually creating. Well, that's because when you have an issue with your own creativity, it cannot be solved logically. Problems with creativity are not problems you can think your way out of, and that's a big issue in our society. We put so much focus on the brain, and we put so much focus on being rational and making sense of things and very linearly solving problems, that when we're faced with any sort of difficulty, we immediately go into thinking mode. And thinking about starting a big book or a memoir or a novel or even a short story, whatever it is, it can feel overwhelming, and our anxiety comes up, and then we start thinking because we're like, oh, this is a problem. I feel uncomfortable. Feeling uncomfortable is a problem. I need to think my way out of it. And even though it feels like we're making the right decision, like, oh yeah, let me think about this and think about it harder and I'll solve this problem, it's the absolute wrong direction to go in. We don't want to think. We want to take that energy and get it out of our brain. We want to get out of our head and we want to reconnect with our heart and our bodies. And that is something that no one is teaching us to do. We were not taught how to do that in school. Our English teacher never taught us how to do that. If you took creative writing classes in college or got an MFA, I guarantee those people never taught you that the key to actually writing a story you love and being in love with your writing is to reconnect to your own heart and your body. It's just not taught today. So that's one of the things we're going to be learning in this new class, The Joyful Writer, is how to reconnect to our own hearts, reconnect to our own bodies so we can feel the rhythms of our own creativity as it moves through our body. We can respond to our heart. We can learn to listen to that wisdom of the heart. So this is where a lot of writers ask me, that's all well and good, and that sounds great, and I want to learn how to do that, but how do I conquer the actual problems with my writing? Like my writing's not good enough, it's objectively not good enough, or it needs a lot of work and I'm really overwhelmed by that, or I suffer from imposter syndrome, that's really holding me back. How do I conquer those problems? So that's something we're going to be looking at in this class too. And as we work with these new techniques, as we reconnect with our hearts and we reconnect with our bodies and we start to learn about our own unique rhythms of creativity as they move through the heart and the body, you will slowly realize that those aren't the actual problems. Your problem is not that your writing work isn't good enough. Your problem is not that there's too much of it, or it needs so much work that it's going to overwhelm you, right? Or that you're always going to feel like an imposter. The problem is mindset. The problem is how you see yourself as a writer, how you see your writing, how you see your writing life, and how you emotionally feel about it. That is where we're getting all tangled up. That is the thing that's blocking us, is how we emotionally feel about ourselves as creative beings. That's what we're going to be working on in this class. And we're going to be doing it together. I said this in the last video. I'm going to say it in the next video because it's really important. This is a group setting. Now, it is a group setting for highly sensitive people, introverted people, INFJ and INFP personality types, empaths, highly creative people. You can be an extrovert and join the group too. But I'm going to always keep that in mind, that a lot of people in the group are not going to be comfortable sharing all at once or sharing ever or having the spotlight on them. That's okay. That's not the kind of group this is going to be. This is going to be a move at your own pace, participate as you feel comfortable, or don't ever participate at all and remain a lurker in the Facebook group. That is totally fine too. But do whatever makes you feel comfortable. My classes are always full of really sweet, supportive, wonderful people who are ready to make connections and are ready to find more people on their wavelength, whether that be someone who's as weird as them or as interested in creativity as them, or who wants to talk about writing with them. I always have classes chock full of those kinds of people. So that's what this group is going to be like. I'm anticipating. And I've gotten so many emails from people that I think it's really going to work out that way. So we're going to be doing this together. You're not going to be alone. You're going to have this support group with you every step of the way as you learn how to reconnect to yourself and find your own unique creative wisdom. The next video, I'm going to be talking about lack of inspiration and how to get it back. That's another big one for unhappy writers, this feeling of the well has run dry, right? There's no more ideas. I don't know what to do. I feel bored. I feel stifled. I feel empty when it comes to inspiration in my writing. So we're going to be talking about that. In the meantime, I would love to hear any comments, questions. As always, email me. I'm at writecitySF@gmail.com. You can also find me through the contact form on my website. You can leave a comment in the comments box below, whatever works for you. If you have any questions about the class, big or small, please send them to me. I'd like to get them answered before I open up registration in just a few days. Okay, thank you so much, everyone, and I will see you in just a couple days for video 3 on how to get the inspiration back.